Hey guys, this is Calvin again. I'm starting with Corona, the treatment so far. All the famous drugs that have been established in the market includes Donald Trump's favorite hydroxychloroquine to today's remdesivir. So all those drugs and what they do and how they act on the body, how they fight against coronavirus, and I hope this kind of gives you an idea if you're a scientist or something, it gives you an inspiration or something to create your own drug or something. So let's start. Corona treatment so far. So I'm just here to discuss the main state of treatment so far, which includes hydroxychloroquine. When Trump was president, it was very famous. Dexamethasone, which is a corticosteroid, could cause some obesity as a side effect, but it targets the immune system. Plasma therapy. Uh, we take the plasma of the one who's recovered and use that immune system to enhance the immunity of the sick one. So it's quite a good idea. And remdesivir, it's a direct virus killer. Just kills the virus by inhibiting its transmission, inhibiting its replication. So let's go on. What they do and how they work. So first is hydroxychloroquine. If you're a chemist or something, you could make use of this Wikipedia hydroxychloroquine chemical structure, and this chemical structure. This is what first introduced against coronavirus. It inhibits a neutrophil mediated inflammation. What is surprising about coronavirus is that most viruses they work by means of lymphocyte reaction. They all cause a lymphocyte reaction, but coronavirus somehow causes a neutrophil reaction. So neutrophil cells have lysosomes in it. I'll explain now. So let's consider the macrophage as a neutrophil and antigen as coronavirus. So the macrophage or the neutrophil swallows the coronavirus, and the lysosomes contains lysozymes which destroy the virus, and antigen presenting cells and the debris I've written here, destruction of antigen and debris. This debris is picked up by the T lymphocytes, and the immune system is triggered. Memory cells are developed, and antibodies are developed. So hydroxychloroquine, what it does is it inhibits the lysosome formation or lysosome opening, thus producing less lysozymes and inhibiting the destruction of the virus, inhibiting the immune system development. So there is no excess inflammation in the body. But at the same time, the virus is not killed exactly. So we can use an alternate antiviral drug to kill the virus specifically. At the same time, we can use hydroxychloroquine to reduce the inflammation reaction so that they can breathe easily. So next is dexamethasone. This is a corticosteroid. Dexamethasone and other corticosteroids inhibit inflammatory response by inhibiting the cytokines. What these corticosteroids they do is, dexamethasone is not exactly a corticosteroid. It is a corticosteroid analog. It is a synthetic corticosteroid. Corticosteroids are naturally they're developed from adrenal cortex. Adrenal cortex. So these corticosteroids and corticosteroid analogs like dexamethasone, what they do is they get into the nucleus and make the necessary changes to inhibit the inflammatory response by inhibiting cytokines. Cytokines are cellular connection language, communication language. They're chemical communication language between cells. So thus inhibiting excess inflammation and that congests lung. So the congestion of the lung is reduced. So this here's dexamethasone. An immune response in the lung is triggered when the coronavirus invades the blood. The dexamethasone, which is similar to corticosteroids on the adrenal gland, they inhibit the inflammatory response by getting into the nucleus and inhibiting the cytokines. So thus an immune response is not developed. So, but here again, just like hydroxychloroquine, this is also only inhibits the immune response. It doesn't kill the virus. So we need an extra antiviral drug. So plasma therapy. So plasma therapy is the direct opposite of the first two things. Plasma therapy, what we do is we add an immune response. We take a plasma with the immune cells of a recovered person, and we add the immune response. So there is extra immune response in the blood. But this may not directly concentrate on the lung as much, causing lung congestion. So immunocompromised patients or patients with lesser immunity, they can be benefited with Plasma therapy. Plasma is nothing but blood minus red blood cells. Red blood cells from the blood are removed, and the remaining plasma is given with antibodies. So how it works? The corona, the virus or any antigen that enters the neutrophil or the macrophage swallows it. I'll show you this following. Here's the neutrophil, the hand-like thing that swallows the virus, and it swallows it and presents it into these small particles, which triggers the T helper cells and the T lymphocytes and the B lymphocytes. The B lymphocytes become plasma cells which produce antibodies. These antibodies go and bind to the other viruses. These antibodies goes and binds to the other viruses and triggering an immune response. And T lymphocytes, they have memory cells. Memory cells will remember the foreign pathogen. So this is how plasma therapy works. We add the plasma of a recovered person to the immunity of the blood of the suffering sick person. So going down to the antiviral drug that kills the virus, that exactly what it does is, we see the coronavirus. Wait a minute. Entering into the cell and integrating its mRNA with the DNA of the human cell, which is the type 2 pneumocyte, which produces surfactants, which makes it easy for the lung to inflate. So type 2 pneumocyte, and it takes over the DNA and DNA and ribosomes and produces its own viral copies, and which exits the cells. What this drug does is it inhibits the ATP binding to the ribosomes, which is necessary for the assembly of the viral particles. Thus the viral particles are not formed, thus killing and stop its replication. So this is what remdesivir does. So can you do something? I've explained the mRNA joining the DNA of the right to lung cells and the angiotensin converting enzyme receptor. So I've given you the chemical formula for everything. I've risked it from Google, and I hope if you're a chemist or something, you can find a formula that inhibits and stuff. So I hope this video is useful, man. Thanks. Dot.